You're the guy people call when they need a helping hand, moving furniture, unloading a truck. But lately, your shoulder's been acting up, and you're the one who's calling for help. And that's the moment you realize you can no longer shoulder the load.
The Joint and Spine Center is Cincinnati's leading destination for orthopedic care with a range of surgical and non-surgical treatments. So when a moment has the power to change the rest of your life, go to the one place with the power to change it for the better, the Christ Hospital Health Network. This changes everything.
The Pound This Podcast is brought to you by the Christ Hospital Health Network. This is the Pound This Podcast, episode 609, Exercises for the Aches and Pains of Sitting Too Much with Josh Garrett.
I want to lose weight, but I don't know how to get started.
What should I meal prep every week?
How do I get those sweet booty gains?
Inspiration for your healthy lifestyle. The Pound This Podcast with Amanda Valentine.
Thank you so much for listening to the Pound This Podcast. I'm Amanda Valentine. Josh Garrett's back. What's up, Josh?
How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Good.
What are you doing for Christmas? What are you asking Santa for?
Oh, just right off the rip. I just hanging out with fam, you know.
Okay.
The crazy 2020 year that we've been having.
Right?
So.
You know what's so strange? I mean, I don't really watch much TV. Other than like the ads that pop up, like when I watch stuff on Hulu, in the commercials that have Santa wearing a mask. And I'm like, wow. Like, can you imagine seeing that last year at Christmas? You'd be like, what the hell is happening?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think anybody predicted 2020.
Yeah.
Well, Bill Gates did.
Oh, yeah. Let's not go down the conspiracy theory.
Oh, why? Huh? Why not? You want to fire questions? Let's fire questions.
Yeah. So we're going to get to the topic here in a second of the exercises. But like, since you're on, and it's my favorite to use the book on you, the book of If, Questions for the Game of Life. Give me a page number.
1.
Oh, okay. You'd think they'd come out gunning for the first one.
Right.
Okay. Oh my goodness. Hold on. If you could spend one whole night alone with anyone in the world who is currently alive, who would you select?
This is always the question. Like, I feel like we get this question a lot.
The whole night alone? No,
like,
you've been the whole night alone. But this is a different question. Like, you're not spending the day, you're spending a night alone. That's different vibes, right?
Yeah.
Like, who do you want to have a slumber party with?
Like,
That's a better question.
Are we talking an intimate setting? Or are we just talking like we're hanging out, we're getting drinks, we're up till 3, 4 in the morning? Because that's a way different person.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, just answer both of that then.
Oh, okay. That makes it easier. Just add more work for myself.
Yeah, good job, Josh.
Anybody that is alive now, I would say if it's just somebody that we're just BSing, and I would just love to hear how he manipulates conversations and just rolls with it.
Yeah.
Would be like a Joe Rogan.
Okay.
Like I think it's really cool. Just if you've ever watched his podcast.
I don't have 3 hours on the daily.
Well, agreed. Yeah, that it gets definitely extreme.
I mean, I've listened to his podcast, but I have never watched it on YouTube. I've never watched any podcast, to be honest with you.
The millennial version, right? The 15-minute snippets kind of thing.
I'm a millennial.
I know. I don't know how I'm a millennial. But yeah.
Okay. So then what about when it's like snuggle time?
I just thought you would forget about that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
You wish.
Man, I don't know. Famous person? Like a Jennifer Aniston?
Sure.
However you say that?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Just maybe slather each other in some Aveeno.
Is that what she does?
I mean, that's the lotion that she sells. She's on the commercials.
Well, if she uses it, it works.
Okay, all right.
I mean, she's withstood the test of time, right?
I mean,
how old is she?
She's rich, dude. It's so much easier. Like, dude, you want to talk about somebody that looks banging for their age?
Who's this?
I'm going to spend the night with her. It's Jennifer Lopez. Jeebus
Agreed.
Christmas. She's 50.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Jennifer Aniston's got to be up there.
She is too. But some of their secrets is like, at least I know J-Lo's is. She's like, I don't go out in the sun. I'm like, what a crap life. You don't go out in the sun?
Yeah. Weigh your options, right?
Like, it's like, you're going to be hot forever, but you're a vampire.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think
she drinks any caffeine. like, or alcohol or anything. And I'm like, this is a life I don't want.
I don't know that I trust anybody that doesn't drink caffeine or alcohol. Like one or the other. You know what I mean?
I mean, I understand alcohol because there's you can have abusive problems with that.
But like if you're just a stimulant-free person,
Yeah.
like that's pretty impressive.
It is impressive.
You gotta, you don't live the same life that I live.
Yeah,
if
same.
you're stimulant-free.
As I have caffeine water sitting right next to me.
Right.
So another question is, I already know the answer to this. I already know you did not watch a movie, or did you? I knew
Negative.
you wouldn't. I knew you wouldn't.
No, I didn't. I did not.
I did the same thing with Shannon, and I watched Shannon's movie. I paid for Shannon's movie so I could watch her favorite movie because I had never watched it before. It's interesting.
Yeah.
It's a good experience.
What was her?
Well, the ones that she said that I had seen already were Little Miss Sunshine and Napoleon Dynamite. The one that I hadn't seen was Dan in Real Life, which is a Steve Carell movie that I didn't know anything about.
Okay.
So I didn't even watch the trailer. I had no idea what I was going into, which I had fun with. So
you just, and you liked them?
yeah,
Okay.
I liked it. I mean, it's just interesting because I think that, I don't know, and I put this a thing on Instagram too. I just think that someone's like, some movie that you would mark as your favorite movie, I think shows just not a specific picture of like somebody, but it's like it gives you a grasp of them. It's kind of like, okay, like I kind of see where their brain's working here, or even not like even watching Shannon or Shay's. I was like, that's not a movie that I would think that she would label as one of her favorites. And not that that's a negative thing at all. It's just kind of like, then it makes me wonder about her. But when we talk on a weekly basis, which I totally forgot to ask her this freaking question, so I have to remember, I was scattered when we recorded our last podcast together, of like where her brain's at. Like it just like brings up questions for me of like, why is that your favorite movie? And like what my guesses are of why it's her favorite movie, and see if it matches with what is her actually favorite.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's just like fun for me.
Oh yeah. Like, I mean, that kind of goes into like a strength finders, like personality tests, like all of that stuff. I think is just fascinating. Like I got into numerology for a while.
Oh really? What did you learn? What's the coolest thing you learned from
I knew
numerology?
you were gonna ask this. This was like college when I did this. So it was, and again, it just kind of goes into like global answers for people. Like it's not like,
was this like what your favorite number is or something?
No, this is like if you added up all the digits of your birthday.
Oh, I've done that before.
Thing
Yeah,
about
what your number is?
Yeah.
What's your number?
Oh Christ, I don't remember. This is a horrible story.
I do. I know. God, good thing it's not your podcast.
Boom, boom, boom.
On that note, we should probably get to the topic here, right? So I know that a lot of people, I mean, this kind of a general complaint from people anyway is, you know, like neck pain, shoulder pain. It's just the fact of being on a computer, hunched over at work. But it feels like, I mean, like everything else this year for 2020, everything is just kind of like, you know, turned to a more painful level. And because people are working from home when they didn't before, or you're watching more screen time, or you're reading more things, or sitting on the couch differently. I know one of my really good friends, she went to working exclusively at home, and she was using like a dining room chair for a while, and then she was in so much pain, like she couldn't walk from just using a damn dining room chair. So then she bought like a gamer chair. And so she's like, that's helped, but she's still just like, she's like, I feel like my body is wrecked just from... She's like, because you not only, you know, just sitting in a different place than at work, but at work, you'd get up and you'd walk around and you'd go to a meeting and you'd walk to the kitchen and you just move more than when you're sitting at home. So with that being said, if somebody's experiencing these aches and pains from this new life that we're living, like what are some easy exercises or just some stretches that you can do to kind of give yourself not only relief, but maybe kind of give yourself like when I'm
like combat the compensations that you're putting in.
Yeah.
I mean, the biggest thing is like be aware of your posture, you know, like as we sit in different chairs, different setups, you know, offices are set up to be offices. Dining rooms are set up to be dining rooms.
Yeah.
You use a dining room as an office, you're going to have some screwy ergonomics, right? So like thinking about If you're sitting in a chair, can you put your feet flat on the ground? If not, maybe you need to get a footstool. If you look down and your knee isn't bent to 90 degrees from your hip, maybe your chair is a little too high, just all little things that can wreck your body if you sit for 8 hours a day.
Yeah. I've also heard that you're supposed to put your computer screen high. Like you should be like looking up to your screen.
Yeah, like definitely in line, if not up.
Okay.
Just because, if your computer screen is down on your table, and we're all guilty of this, and you get into your work, you're naturally going to gravitate towards that screen, right?
Yeah.
So you're going to naturally go into that kyphotic or rounded posture as you're, getting in deeper into your work, especially if it is like really thought provoking. Like if you're just entering data, it's probably going to be a lot easier to stay upright as you're doing it. If you're reading something, you're going to be more apt to get closer to it as you read. So like putting your computer screen up higher, putting your keyboard, making sure that your elbows are at 90 degrees. So if your elbows are up a little bit taller, then your elbows are going to make your shoulders hunch up. So your shoulders are going to go up by your ears. That could cause pain up in your neck, cause migraines, headaches, all that kind of stuff. So you want your elbows to be at 90 degrees. Getting up periodically, like setting a timer of every half hour, every hour, whatever your work will allow you to do. And just like you said, get up and take a walk. Even if the walk is 5-10 minutes up and down steps or whatever the case may be, just get the blood flowing, kind of break up the system that you've just sat in and you've kind of conformed to. I know it sounds dumb, but you can like just literally shake your body out.
Okay. I was going to say, is like walking beneficial enough, or would it be better to do like some sort of stretching, or just walking?
Yeah, walking and then stretching. So like you're getting the blood flowing and then you're kind of stretching the muscle, because you never want to stretch a cold muscle. So you want to kind of warm the body up a little bit, or you can just literally shake. Like you just stand up and shake your body out, and it'll kind of break up that holding pattern of the position that you've just been sitting in for the past 45 minutes, hour and a half, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
And then you always want to think about the muscles that are going to get tight. So the muscles that are on the front of your body are going to be the ones that get tight, because you're sitting and you're rounding your shoulders, or you're hunching your shoulders up, or whatever the case may be. So you'd always want to pull your shoulders back and down your body. So you can like grab your hands, in behind, interlace your fingers behind your back, kind of press your palms together, bring your shoulders around your body, and then press them down away from your ears. That'll help stretch your chest out. If you have like a Swiss ball, you can lay over the Swiss ball, so you're
like
kind
stomach
of
over
the other way. So your back is over the Swiss ball. Make sure that you don't get too much into your neck. If you get dizzy from doing that, you don't want to go as extreme with it. So taking some pillows, you can just lay pillows down on the ground. You can just go over top of those. If you have like a yoga bolster, you could do that. Yoga blocks would be great for that, to help you kind of get in that stretch position. Mainly, you just want to stretch the chest muscles out. So a doorway, you can put your elbows up on the doorway, kind of lean into it. That'll help stretch your chest out. And then if you had like little bands, like little TheraBands, you could wrap them around, a pole or a door or something. And you could just do like 90-degree elbow rows, so that you're squeezing the back muscles. So you're going to engage the muscles that are on the back, which will help loosen up the muscles on the front, so that hopefully you're kind of combating that forward rounded shoulder posture. Neck massages. Those are always good to like try to get the muscles of your traps to release a little bit. So if you had somebody that would be willing to do that, that's a plus.
Yeah.
You can take lacrosse balls and do that yourself. There's a boatload of videos on YouTube that you can take lacrosse balls and put them on your traps. So the muscles that are in between your ears and your shoulders kind of go in the middle of that. And then you could go into like a little bit of a hamstring bridge, and that'll help release that. Or you could just leave your arms up in the air, and that'll help stretch that out. Biceps are going to get tight. So again, going back to stretching your chest, you could sit on the floor with your arms kind of so that your middle fingers are pointed away from your butt, and just kind of open up your chest while you're pushing your shoulders down.
Do you know what's interesting about this? And I'm like 100% guilty. is these are all really simple, small moves.
For sure.
And we could all do them, even if you are in an in-person work situation. You can just do that at your desk. But we don't.
Yeah.
Then we'll just get into this chronic pain,
Yes.
and then we'll pour medications on it and pay for doctors and everything else instead of do these simple exercises. And like, why do we do that? Because I do that too. Like, why is that a thing? What's wrong with us?
Well, I mean, and I'm guilty of it. I mean, I think that we're all guilty of it, right? Like as humans, we almost think that if it's too easy, it's too easy, right? Oh, laying down, breathing on your stomach, that can't do anything for you. Science, data, I could show you thousands of articles that say how beneficial that is, but yet it's too easy for us to do, so we feel like it's not beneficial.
Yeah.
When it's actually really, really challenging, right? It's kind of like meditation. Like, oh yeah, it's super easy to do. Just sit, don't do anything. Yeah, try it.
Yeah.
Monkey brain's gonna go crazy, right? So I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I mean, I'm sure that's a question for somebody that has a higher pay scale than I.
Yeah. Well, how often do you, I mean, I imagine probably most of clients that come here to the gym have these sorts of issues that you see. I mean, we were just working with my friend Ashley before we started recording this, and it's like everything like goes into traps and shoulders, which I'm guilty of too. And I feel like that's just so much of like, you just sit like that and you get into it. And it's like, I mean, is there anybody that you haven't seen that comes into the gym that doesn't have that at this point?
Oh, no. I mean, I think that we all develop some sort of imbalances. It's just a matter of how much time and effort you're willing to put into it, right? So, like, everybody wants to come into the gym and they want to do things perfect. Well, that's cool, but let's say you work out 5 hours out of the week, right? You go to the gym 5 days a week for an hour. That's a good chunk of time. I don't know the numbers of this, but there's 150 some hours in the week.
You're asking the wrong person.
Right. So you figure, what is it? 24/7, 147, 28, 168.
Okay.
So 163 hours that you can screw this thing up outside of that, right?
Yeah.
You sleep wrong, you drive funky, you put your wallet in your back pocket, you sit like an idiot throughout the day. Like all of those things compile and add up. And then people go, well, I try to work out perfect. And it's like, yeah, but you're screwing it up by the other things that you're doing. And we all do it. It's not like and you're not a bad person for doing it, right? Like I think everybody that thinks like, oh, well, I have compensation, so I don't know. It's just a weird psychological thing that applies to that.
How bad is that for you to sit on your wallet? I've never thought about that for guys.
Oh yeah, screws you up big time.
Really?
Like it shifts your pelvis. Yeah. Because, like, think about it.
Well, it already seems super uncomfortable. Like, why do guys do that?
It's really not. Like, you don't feel it a whole lot
Really?
just because of how much, cushion you got on your booty.
Gotcha.
But it tilts your pelvis from one side to the other, which then, throws the whole spine out of alignment.
Where do you keep your wallet? Like in your front pocket?
Front pocket, coat pocket.
I'm taking this off the rails. Do you have anything weird in your wallet?
Oh, weird.
Like just anything out of the ordinary other than like money, driver's license?
No.
You don't keep any like
there's no mementos.
photos or anything in there?
No, nothing. I used to keep my Social Security card in my wallet.
Ooh, that's a bad idea.
And then I misplaced my wallet and realized that was an idiot move.
Did you ever find it?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Oh, my God. How scary.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there for about an hour, I was like, oh, I really screwed up.
You know what? I think I probably did that, too, at one point in time. But, yeah. And that, too, and keep my, like, checkbook in my purse, which is bad news bears, too. If somebody ganks your purse, they got a bunch of blank checks.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So then you would be like one of my clients that he ended up had not only his car stolen, but his wife's car stolen.
Yeah, because what was it? He was leaving it running outside for a second or something?
And then somebody, just hopped in his car and decided that it was his car, their car now, and they took it, and his wife's purse was in there, and they ended up getting her keys, and
That's just so wild, man.
Right? It's like,
that's crazy.
Which
I guess it's like there's like laws, which I didn't realize until like in the past couple of years, or at least in Ohio, over like doing that, like warming your car up if you don't have an automatic start.
Yeah.
Because people will gank your stuff.
Yeah. That's crazy.
I know.
You would never think of it because you're like, it was 5 minutes. It's like, and that's the same. He was running in for like 2 minutes and
Oh my God.
come back out, gone.
Well, I even did that today, going to physical therapy, because I had my laptop with me to come here to record. And I'm like, I brought it in with me. I'm like, my whole backpack. I'm like, sorry. I'm like, I don't want to leave this out in my car.
Yeah.
Even though she's in a super nice neighborhood. I'm like, I trust no one. She's like,
Yep.
no, that's smart.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I got to go to court this week because some dude stole something out of my mailbox. So I had to go to court. And I'm like, people just steal. I don't care.
Well, yeah. And I mean, people are going to steal from nicer neighborhoods than more rundown neighborhoods, right? Think
Well,
about
yeah,
it.
they probably think about there's
way
laptop
more
in the back.
opportunity in the nicer neighborhoods.
Well, and I don't know. Oh, again, we are getting off the rails here. I'll get back here in a second. But just like even talking about like, well, you know, I had to go to court because of a porch pirate. Of like, how is that not happening more? Like, I mean, with especially this year with as many packages and everything, the people getting everything delivered at home. Like that's. I'm surprised I haven't heard more about it, but I also don't follow the news much anymore. But then that's where I also think it's crap for my own personal experience. And I'm like, I'm the victim here. This dude stole from me, and I'm the one that went to court. And guess what? He bothered to not show up. So
you went?
Yeah.
Oh, my.
Yeah, I went, and 4 people who were apparently my neighbors were there. Which, by the way, going to court this week was an experience because I've never had to do that before. But in the same courtroom, they have many, many, many cases going on. So the hallway is packed. I'm like, talk about people not caring about COVID. Like there's markers on the floor, but there's so many people and you're all crammed in this hallway to get into the same courtroom whenever they call you. So we all showed up, at least for our case. And then the prosecutor came out. She's like, he didn't show up. And then she's like, so you get $6 for showing up today, which paid for my parking.
Awesome.
And then I'm like, so what happens now? She's like, it'll be another court case and you got to come back. I'm like, cool. Hopefully he shows up to that one. So I'm like, how come I showed up and I didn't do anything wrong? Like, but to think that you can just steal from somebody and you're a bad guy and you have a court date and then not show up to court, it blows my mind.
Yeah.
Even though the prosecutor gave me permission not to come, I was so paranoid that she would forget she said that to me that I went anyway.
Well, if he probably followed the rules, he wouldn't be stealing packages off the porch.
I mean, fair. That's fair. But also, one of the neighbors that apparently I have has a Ring camera.
Yeah.
So he had all of this on
That's what I was going
camera.
to say is that could be one of the reasons that you don't hear about it a lot. Because
you get
people are
busted.
Like, oh, everybody's got it nowadays. And
Yeah, I mean, I have cameras in my house, but not on the perimeter of my house. Until now, if you're listening to this, you have an idea. But my next door neighbors do, and they have cameras pointed at our house.
Right.
So
they can
it's
see
like, if something happened, it would be on our neighbors' cameras.
Yeah.
So I don't know how people think that you can just go do that sort of stuff.
Well,
now.
and especially with how cheap cameras are today.
Oh my God, yeah.
It's like back in the day, if you had a surveillance camera, it was a thing.
Yeah.
Now it's like everybody. You can go to Sam's Club and get a surveillance camera.
Right. So back on topic.
Yeah.
And so is there anything else to do? I mean, is that pretty much like the...
So that hits the upper body. If you want to go lower body, you want to stretch your quads. So you could do an old school quad stretch where you just stand and kind of grab your leg. When you're doing that, don't let your pelvis tilt extremely far forward. You want to just draw your belly button up and in a little bit. You'll feel it stretch more.
What about people that tuck a foot under and sit on that and stuff like that? And you want to completely avoid all that?
Yes. Stop sitting like a child.
It's so
That's
comfortable,
a joke because we
though.
all do it.
It's so comfy.
That you think sitting on your wallet is bad. Sitting on your foot, that just screws the whole chain up, right? Because then you're going from the waist down. You're screwing the knee joint and the ankle joint by sitting on it. I know one guy that broke his foot by sitting on it.
I did that.
Really?
Yeah, it happened to me at work. So I had my left foot tucked under my right leg. I was in a meeting at the radio station I was at the time. We were in a conference meeting, having a brainstorming meeting, which was extremely vulgar and loud because it's how we are. And the radio station across the hall, for whatever dumb reason, always left their door open for the on-air studio. So we're across the hall saying highly offensive, not FCC appropriate things very loudly. And so even though my boss was in the room, I'm like, I'm feeling uncomfortable. This is going to float over there. So I got up to walk across the conference room to close their on-air studio door, and my left foot was numb from sitting on it, and I rolled and I heard it pop We all heard it snap in the room. And then I just kept walking. I couldn't feel it because it was numb from sitting on it. And then I sat down and I just felt like I was going to throw up. And everybody's like, whoa, what's wrong with you? And I'm like, I don't know. And then it started hurting.
Yeah. So it's probably not good to sit on your foot.
No. Yeah. And then I got blood clots from the break. It was bad.
Wow.
It sucked. I was in a boot. It was in the middle of winter in upstate New York trying to go around icy stairs in a damn boot. Oh my God, it's stupid. And then I had to give blood every single week for 6 months on the blood thinners that I was on. That was also a treat of going to this lab in a very interesting neighborhood for 6 months straight, where I literally watched somebody sat next to me and screamed at a Christmas tree.
You have such interesting backstories, like the amount of places that you lived, and then the stories that you have within those places. It's just like, what? How is this real life?
Oh man, I got so many weirder stories in that too. That one's pretty tame.
I know. That's what I mean. It's hilarious. It's like, not only did you sit on your foot long enough to break it when you stood up, then you continue the story to someone sitting talking to a Christmas tree. Like, that goes pretty deep.
Oh yeah, sorry. I know I'm getting on track, but we have to stop here because you have a client. Yes. But like this also at the same place. So this was the time that I was planning my wedding.
Okay.
And so the same chick like drew my blood, or the same couple ones rotated when I went in every week to check like my Coumadin levels and stuff like that for the blood thinner. And she was just like, "Girl, you buying your wedding dress yet?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm thinking about this place or whatever." And she's just like, "You got to go to Alfred Angelo." And in the loudest, sassiest voice, she's like, "They dress you up like a baby doll."
Wow.
Which I went to work and said that, and that became a catchphrase. So at the time I was doing a morning show, and then when I got done doing the morning show, I went and worked at a production agency where I wrote, voiced, and produced commercials for all over the country, radio commercials. And it was at the production agency that became, you just hear from another studio like, "Oh man, over there dressed up like a baby doll."
That's hilarious. Last thing that I want to talk about.
Man, I am so all scattered all over the place on this one. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. They do have like posture trainers now that you can like clip on your shirt that give you like a little bit of a vibration if you're sitting in bad posture. If anybody's listening that has one of those, any kind of feedback on that would be kind of cool, because I've thought of recommending that for trainers or for clients. And I've never used one.
Why don't you get one? Are they expensive?
I think they're like $100.
Oh.
I don't know how much they are, but I don't sit a whole lot. So
Gotcha.
It would be interesting though to hear feedback on whether they like it, which ones they like, that kind of thing. So
okay.
Yeah, I think that would be interesting. Because it's kind of like Pavlov's thing, right? Of just like, oh, you're sitting bad.
Yeah.
And then okay, redirect my posture, because we're all going to sit in bad posture at some point. It just, I don't think people understand how much those little things that we're doing on a daily basis compound and screw our bodies up. And then when the body breaks, we're trying to reverse. Okay, well, now you're trying to reverse sitting like an idiot for the last 30 years in 2, 3, 4 PT sessions.
Yeah.
It's going to be pretty hard to do.
Not only that, but just kind of like, where the issues where I have now is you want to go to the gym and you want to exercise a certain way,
yes,
and your body is unable to because of these patterns that you've set up. And then you get frustrated and that you can't do what you want. And then you have to go through all of these corrective exercises, which are not as sexy as doing some bicep curls and being a hot bitch.
I disagree.
Yeah, well, you're weird. I don't think they're as much fun. I think it's interesting. Like, I totally understand it, and I think it's really interesting, and I feel like I'm getting much better with it. But yeah, I don't know. It just doesn't hit the same little spot.
Agreed 100%. I mean, it's not going to release those endorphins that doing the traditional style exercises do, but there is a level, and I think you could attest to this, that getting to know your body is very powerful.
Yeah.
Right? Of like, if I do this, my body does that. if I don't do this, then my body does this. Or,
Yeah.
you know, it's really, and I don't know that people feel this that don't have an injury because of my back, but when I feel connected, like when everything's like clicking and it feels good, it's like, oh my goodness, this is amazing. You know, like I could tackle the world. And then when it flares up or goes out or whatever the case may be, it's like, oh, I hate like it just drains you. It's, you know, it's really, and if people don't have an injury, it's really hard to understand, but I don't know of anybody that's went through life and hasn't had an injury.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just those little things that if we could just think about and just become cognizant of, and you're not going to be perfect, you know, it doesn't, striving to be perfect helps you get better, right? It's, you're never going to achieve perfection, but it's the pursuit of it that makes it enjoyable, that gives you the win. So the more and more you can think about like, oh man, I never even thought of my wallet. Oh, why does my right hip hurt? Well, that's because you carry your wallet in your right side, you know, if you're right-handed. Just little changes that you can make a huge difference in your life and make you feel better, look better, move better. And I would say that would be a good thing for everyone.
Yeah. So if somebody's looking for more Josh Garrett wisdom,
you're like, shut up.
No, you have a client in 1 minute. I'm trying to help you out.
Yeah, they can just email at info@cincy360fitness.com.
Okay, bye.
See ya.
For info on health coaching and more, go to AmandaValentineBites.com.